Number 3106. It's October 26, 2015. Mr. Flynn, could you please call the roll?
Semple.
Here.
Abernathy.
Here.
Norton. Russell.
Here.
Kim.
Here.
Rikus.
Here.
Very good. Would those that are able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone. Although those of you here live, we have some guests here. Looks like some folks from a Boy Scout troop. Could you just, what troop are you guys from?
Mr. Mayor, we're from Troop 273.
Troop 273. Great. And where do you meet in the?
We actually meet at Christ Lutheran Church in Vernon Hills, but we, Matthew and I live here in
Perfect. Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Tonight, folks, and watching online, we have, let's see here, where's my, there we go. A couple things just as an overview, some highlights coming up. We're going to have a Liquor Control Commission meeting and hear from Empire Buffet about an interest in liquor license. We'll hear a little bit about the leaf pickup, which has started, some details on that. And then we're going to wrap up in hopefully a brief discussion about the overnight parking ordinance that we discussed last meeting 2 weeks ago. All right, so with that, we have three motions on the approval of minutes to get started here. First, I need a motion, please, to approve the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from October 5th, 2015.
So moved.
Motion by Kim.
Second.
A second by Rikus. Discussion? Okay, clerk, please, or Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Kim.
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Semple.
Present.
Abernathy.
Yes.
And Russell.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, please, a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from October 12th, 2015.
So moved.
Motion by Semple, second by Abernathy. Discussion. All right, Mr. Flynn, can you please call the roll?
Semple.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Finally, a motion to approve the Board of Trustees regular meeting minutes from October 12th, 2015.
So moved.
Motion by Kim.
Second.
Second by Russell. Discussion? All right, Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Kim.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carries. Next up is public commentary. Is anyone present here live that wishes to address the village board at this time? If so, can you please raise your hand? Let us know who you are.
Is this in lieu of the liquor commission? I mean, the liquor commission is just going to be incorporated into the.
We're going to, actually, we're going to.
Commenting on a liquor commission.
Okay, we're going to recess into a liquor commission
Later.
meeting, and during that meeting, there will be a portion for public commentary then.
But yeah, I was more for the regular meeting, so.
Oh, for the regular or the liquor?
For the regular meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, then this would be the time.
Good.
My name is Joe Piantowski. It's Piontowski, and I live at 1073 Rensgate here in town. My comments tonight, just a couple of comments in regards to the need for additional revenue to pay some bills, whether it's streets, pensions, what have you, within the community. Talking with my neighbors and friends here in town, we all understand that there's a real good possibility some sort of taxes may be increased, whether it be gas, property, utility, etc. But we'd also like to think that, and hope that every other avenue has been exhausted. And just a couple of thoughts on possible ways to generate revenue otherwise. First one would be increasing the annual licensing fee for the video gaming terminals. My understanding is they're currently at $150 per unit per year. And I know other municipalities have raised them. I think, frankly, $150 was a bargain. So I wouldn't even consider raising them as so much as bringing them up to where they should be, as high as $1,000 or even $1,500 per machine. based on the amount of money that the establishments are already bringing in. And obviously, when you have people like Graham's going to as much effort as they were to be able to bring video gaming onto their facility, and then with Tina G's and Rosati's and probably others coming in the future, I think it'd be nice to see the village pick up some extra revenue that way. Another idea, and I know it's not always a popular idea with some here, but I'm going to visit it again just because it is something that I discuss with people pretty regularly, and that's a commercial vacancy fine or fee. It's owners of commercial properties that either have or should have buildings intended to house businesses that generate sales tax revenue should not be allowed to remain vacant for extended periods of time without penalty. These properties are zoned for commercial use specifically to generate revenue for the village. If the property owner can't find a tenant or generate sales tax, then they should be motivated through financial means to do so. That's my 2 cents on that. And last is off of that subject, but a topic that's just relatively become new news to me and many others is I'd like to know if the sales tax deal that Mundelein has in place with Medline will continue once they move their corporate offices out of town, or will that collection of sales taxes move along with them?
Yeah, at this point, Medline hasn't indicated one way or the other whether or not that's going with them, and frankly, they've made no announcement either on are they pulling up stakes completely and leaving, are they just keeping certain staff here. That, as far as I know, has been undecided by Medline as of this date, so it's not, we're not sure at this point. Is the short answer.
Okay, would there be a way for us to, with or without Medline's assistance, investigate as to whether that would be? It's going to be a big hit if it leaves town. It's bad enough losing that, a lot of employees most likely, but also losing that sales tax that we finally got would be a pretty big hit too.
Yeah, they've got our attention. And without getting into long explanation, it's the new rules that the Department of Revenue have come out with on how you allocate those sales tax. And it's pretty straightforward. And so until Medline announces what their business plan is, there's really just simply nothing to do but wait. They know we're interested. We've talked to them, so at this point, we're waiting.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anyone else wish to address the village board? Go, okay.
Hello, my name is Nancy Paisecki, and I'm the president of the Mundelein Hills Rotary Club. And I'd like to thank you, Mayor Lentz, and the village board for your time. One of the major goals of Rotary International is the eradication of polio worldwide. And World Polio Day was October 24th, and as of October 14th, there are 2 countries with still cases of polio, Afghanistan 13 and Pakistan 38. Since 1979, there's been no cases of polio originated in the United States. However, in 1993, a traveler with the disease brought it to the United States. Annually, our club delivers dictionaries to all the third graders in Mundelein and Vernon Hills area. And what's interesting is we ask them what the definition of polio is, and they don't know what it is. Their generation have no idea. Just a couple stats that we have. 2 billion children are immunized, 10 million cases have been prevented, 1.5 million deaths were averted, and 11 billion raised overall, and out of that, 1.3 billion was raised by Rotarians. Every bit of awareness makes a difference, and I thank you for your recognition later on in the meeting.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Very good. All right, so we'll close the floor and move on to presentations and awards. There are none this evening, nor do we have any public hearings. What I'd like to do before I go to my mayor's report is go to the Liquor Control Commission meeting, and then we'll come back to the village board meeting. All right, so at this point, I need a motion, please, to recess into the Liquor Control Commission meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Kim. Second by Abernathy. Discussion? Okay, Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Kim,
Yes.
Abernathy. Semple,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, then I need a motion, please, to convene the Liquor Control Commission meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Kim. Second by Abernathy. Discussion? Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Kim,
Yes.
Abernathy. Rikus.
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries. And so we've called this to order, and we need to now attendance.
Semple,
Here.
Abernathy. Norton, Russell,
Here.
Kim,
Here.
Rikus.
Here.
Very good. At this point, does anyone in the crowd here wish to address the Liquor Control Commission in terms of public commentary? If so, raise your hand. Okay. There being no hands, we'll close the floor and move on to minutes. I need a motion, please, to approve the Liquor Control Commission meeting minutes from August 24th, 2015. Motion by Abernathy,
Second?
second by Kim. Discussion? All right, Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Rikus,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Very good. That takes us to interest in a liquor license with our village from a business called Empire Buffet at 405 Town Line Road. Are the parties here that can address that? Yeah, if you could come on up to the podium and tell us your name and your address, if you so desire, and tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm from the Empire Buffet, so I want to apply for the liquor license. So only sell the beer. Then because another customer, they asking for can they have some beer or can they bring it in? Then we want a price for the license.
Okay. Now, you have quite a history at that location, right?
Yeah.
You go back quite a few years, and I know you recently remodeled
Yes.
quite a bit. Can you tell us a little bit about the history? When did you originally start Empire, or the previous name?
The previous about 10 years
Yeah.
for the China Buffet.
Yep.
Then they remodeling 2 years,
Yep.
so called the Empire Buffet.
Okay. And would it be only beer? Would you also sell wine?
No wines, only beer.
Just beer?
Yeah.
And that's what you're being asked by your customers,
Yes.
is that they want beer? Okay,
Yeah, we only sell beers for them.
okay. Other trustees have questions? Okay,
I will.
okay, go ahead.
You're going to make sure that everyone working is of legal age to serve the beer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I enjoy your restaurant because I go there. I like the hibachi part a lot. I just, want to make sure you understand that there's a big responsibility with having the liquor license, and we are very serious about making sure minors aren't served. There's no underage drinking. Okay. All right, I just, like to make sure that you're real aware that we are very serious about that, and our fines and your ability to have a license is a privilege. Okay, great, thank you.
Trustee Semple.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, are you going to be eligible for, or do you desire to have video gaming terminals? Because I believe if they have a liquor license, that's the trigger event to allow them to have gaming terminals, correct?
I think they need to have a Class A liquor license and a couple of other classes, and I don't think Class G is eligible. I think that's correct.
That's correct.
So you're aware of this, that you're not going to be eligible for any gaming machines, and you're not looking for gaming machines, right?
No family.
No, because I do agree with the resident that spoke earlier, that I think we're giving away the store on these gaming machines, and I think we ought to go look at our liquor license fees that we're charging, because there must be a lot of money in this, since we're seeing such a rush for all these businesses that have to have a liquor license, to make money. There's got to be big revenue in it, and I suspect we're not charging enough on our liquor license fees. So anyway, I wish you the best of luck. You've been around a long time, and I'll support your beer-only liquor license. Thank you.
Anyone else over here?
I just want to confirm, I believe Royal Cantonese also offers alcohol, correct? Is that beer only? It's all?
Royal
Okay.
Cantonese has a full bar.
This class of liquor license also does allow for wine, though, right?
Correct.
This is a beer and wine
Correct.
license, even though you only want beer, but I would just ask that maybe you entertain the wine part, only for those of us who can't drink beer without having stomach problems, that we wouldn't mind some wine either. But that's all I have to say. I have no problem. If she only wants to serve beer, that's fine. This is fine with me.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Trustee Rikus? Okay,
I'm fine, yes.
very good. I would just repeat what you heard from Trustee Semple, and make sure that you get well-educated and acclimated to the procedures for carding people and verifying age and all that.
Mayor Lenz?
Yes.
That was me.
Oh, that was you? Okay. It was a birthday girl.
Yeah.
It's her birthday today, by the way. So, but we're very serious about that, okay? And so just make sure you cross the Ts and dot the Is and educate your employees in that regard. All right, I have an envelope up here that tells you what to do after this. If you could come on up and then make sure that Mr. Flynn has the spelling of your name. Yeah. There we go. Thank you very much. All right, that takes us to the end of the agenda for the Liquor Control Commission meeting. I need a motion, please, to adjourn this Liquor Control Commission meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Abernathy.
Second.
Second by Kim. Discussion? All right, Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Yes.
Abernathy,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Russell. Yes. Rikus.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Now I need a motion, please, to reconvene the village board meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Rikus,
Second.
second by Abernathy. Discussion? Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Rikus.
Yes.
Abernathy,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
We are now reconvened. If we could have attendance, please.
Semple,
Still here.
Abernathy, Norton, Rikus,
Here.
Kim,
Here.
Russell.
Yes.
All right. This takes us to my report, and I have three items. Two of them are listed here. A third item I want to just address right at the beginning, and that regards a leaf pickup. It has begun, and I'm going to ask Mr. Flynn to expound on a few details of leaf pickup, which is underway.
Oh, thank you. The program began last Monday. It's gearing up. There's a lot of leaves being raked to the curb. The couple of important things to remember for our residents are, first, to try and rake early so that you don't leave it till the end when bad weather could interfere. And secondly, we always ask people not to rake the leaves into the street, to keep them on the back of the curb because it does interfere with collection. They are out and working diligently, and the leaves do appear to be cooperating, so if we're lucky, we'll get this done before it snows. But it is important to rake early and keep the leaves on the curb and off the street. Thank you.
So, I don't know, did you mention the 3 feet thing?
I didn't mention 3 feet, I think, but I think
It's so that when you rake your leaves, it's, you know, the vacuum thing can't reach beyond 3 feet very well. So if your leaves are stacked, packed up to on your curb extending 4 feet into your yard, they're gonna miss some of the leaves. So make sure that you put it within 3 feet of the curb, and then the vacuum thing can sweep over and get it all. Now, that's 3 feet from the curb into your yard, not 3 feet from the curb into the street. All right? And we've seen people doing that. They just break their leaves and it's a big pile in the street. People can't park, you know, overnight or whatever. So please, it's in the yard itself from the curb moving in, and try and keep it within 3 feet. It's a challenge sometimes because the piles get kind of big and then you have to work it. But anyway, all right, that's it though, right? Pretty good. Thank you. All right, next up is a mayoral proclamation, and I'm going to read this and make some comments. This is End Polio Week, End Polio Now Week. I'm proclaiming it to be October 23rd through the 30th. All right. Whereas polio is a crippling and potentially fatal disease that still threatens children in parts of Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, and whereas it is critical that individuals be vaccinated against polio in order to avoid infection by the polio virus, and whereas the incidence of polio has declined throughout most of the world due to various education and immunization programs worldwide, and whereas Rotary International and individual Rotarians have contributed over $1 billion and spearheaded collaborations with donor governments, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and Centers for Disease Control, leading to a significant reduction in the incidence of polio worldwide by over 99%. And whereas Rotarians from the Mundelein Vernon Hills Rotary Club have generously joined in these efforts through monetary contributions and participation in overseas immunization initiatives since the campaign to eradicate polio was launched in 1985. And whereas Rotarians from the Mundelein Vernon Hills Rotary Club, along with fellow Rotarians worldwide, are joining together to educate the general public about polio and to raise funds for its eradication. And whereas the Mundelein Vernon Hills Rotary Club, in cooperation with the Mundelein McDonald's restaurant on Lake Street, held a Dine and Donate event on October 20th that raised public awareness and funding for the eradication of polio worldwide. And whereas the eradication of polio is close at hand, but still requires a concerted effort by international health and service organizations. Now therefore be it proclaimed that October 23rd through 30th, 2015 shall be End Polio Now Week in the village of Mundelein. Proclaimed, signed, and sealed this 26th day. You know, it's been so long since it's really been in the news. Growing up as a kid, a lot of us had the little sugar things with those the oral vaccines that we got when we were like in kindergarten, and that's what they would line up and give us the polio vaccine. But I had a friend growing up, he had polio when he was a kid, and then you know, it really brought awareness in the middle part of last century when FDR, before he was president, he was an adult. Very unusual for adults to get polio. But one day he's out racing his kids in the yard. 2 hours later, he can't feel his legs, he's in bed feeling bad. And apparently, when you get polio, you get it for just a couple, 2-3 days, something like that, and it just damages your nerves permanently. And for him, it was years of rehab, and we're learning how to walk and even to stand, to give speeches, and here he was a strong public figure, and he comes down with polio. And so you can imagine, the public awareness was great then, and Jonas Salk came along and discovered the vaccine. He was a rock star in the science community, of course. But since then, of course, it's been decades, and it's just kind of wavered. And so they had it down, I think, to maybe 5 countries back in 2000. It came roaring back and went to 12, something like that. And now Bill Gates came along, and now there's this huge global effort, and it's just great to see the whole world really coming behind this, and certainly so many interests. To now, you said 2 countries. We're down to 2 countries, and the only way to eradicate it is to go through every single village in every country, and in those last few countries, and vaccinate every single child to really know you eradicate it. And then it's like another 3 years of having no cases, something like that, before it's considered done. And it's been done with smallpox, okay? Eradicated completely from the world. Polio, though, we're still hanging on. And so kudos to the Rotarians in our village, in our community here. Wonderful, wonderful work you've done. So there's that. Thank you. Let's go to the final thing I have is a discussion regarding overnight parking ordinance. Let me just make a few comments and then I'll ask for a motion. So 2 weeks ago, I described a compromise approach to the overnight parking restriction question, and I described an odd, even alternate side approach, and I said that as of this meeting, we would have more information and it was going to be put on the website and everything. And in the course of that 2-week period, our staff did some analysis and came up with a few things that really make me feel uncomfortable moving forward with this and calling this to a definitive question. First, there was a legal analysis done. Previously, we thought that we would be able to pass a village-wide ordinance and have signs at the entrances and maybe not have to invest so much in signage. But after a legal analysis came through, it was discovered that we have in our village, roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of our village has streets with various levels of ordinances. One-sided, two-sided restrictions, segmented restrictions, there's permitted restriction. It's a whole potpourri of ordinances that have been amassing over 40 years, I guess. And at that point, it's like, whoa, we need to kind of take a better look because there's so many. And so on that level, we need more study in terms of the streets that have restrictions and how that would work with whatever we decide to move forward if we do. Second, there's a cost in terms of the signage. Now, with this ordinance that we were looking at, there would have been a requirement to put at least one sign, if not two, on every single block that would be affected. And that's given the fact that we have other streets with other ordinances. These would all have to have their own signs. It's very expensive. It'd be about 2,100 estimated signs required. The cost would be $200,000 to $300,000 plus a lot of time from Public Works to put those in over the course of a year. Very, very expensive. So between the cost and then the other streets and the various parking ordinances, I think we need to step back, take a more holistic view of this and ask staff. And so what I'm saying is, if we're going to do something regarding this, at this point we need, in my opinion, for more staff analysis and their recommendations for possible amendments and on parking enforcement. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion, please, to take no action on overnight parking restrictions and to direct staff to provide a report and recommendations on parking ordinance amendments and parking enforcement.
So moved.
Motion by Abernathy. Second by Semple. Discussion.
Yes, please.
Yes, Trustee Abernathy.
So when you say we're going to direct staff to look more into this, are we going to look and see if there's actual subdivisions that need the overnight parking, or are we still looking at a village-wide ban?
Well, I think we need to have their analysis and to make a recommendation if that's what fits the bill. We know there are pockets in town that need attention.
Correct.
Okay? And so I think we need more time to digest the laws we have and whether a segmented approach would be better or a village-wide approach.
Okay.
That needs to come from them, though, after more study.
Because I know that from a public safety issue, that there are areas that need to have at least one side only of parking, because we just can't get public safety vehicles down. Now, the other question I have is, and I understand why we were switching it every night to one side and the other. People, might not have understood, but there's a lot of cars that I see driving through town that are parked, and they can sit there for a week or more and never move. Now, do we have something that is on the books for cars like that? Do we have something that they can't, Now, I guess the question is, I'm sure the police don't want to be the bad guys and start ticketing these cars. I understand, and that probably is a board directive.
Yes. Yes.
But my question is, I guess, to the rest of the board is, maybe a solution to this is maybe being able to have a warning to this car saying, you know, this needs to be moved in a couple of days, and if that car's still sitting there and our patrolmen, they drive different beats, correct? Different areas of town, don't we have different sections of town?
Yes, yeah, you do.
Okay, so they could know that on Hawley, say, there's a red car that's been parked there for 3 weeks.
Yes, our current setup, though, becomes difficult when there's cars, multiple cars parked on the road in varying locations every night, every day of the week, to determine which one's been there for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. 7 days is the trigger. Car has to move every 7 days.
Okay.
It's got to move 2 feet forward or 2 feet back, but it has to move every 7 days. Quite typically, what we rely on is neighbors to let us know that a car's been there for longer than that 7-day period. Some are very obvious, but when you go down a street where there's multiple cars parking, it's not as obvious as you would think.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is, but I know that that's a problem in town. So I guess understanding, you know, I know my subdivision already has parking only on one side of the street, or actually during the day, there is no parking on the street because it's close to Carmel. So you can't park in the street. I mean, if you call the police department and you have to, you can get a ticket to, you know, a little sticker and you can park on the street, but there's no parking. During football games, there's no parking. I don't know what the answer, you know, I know it's something that we're all in a quandary with.
That's why we're going to ask staff to take a look
Yeah.
at this. Exactly.
But-
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I would just answer that by saying that we're looking for not only the public's input on where they perceive there to be problems, and we take a kind of a look at that and see if there's ways of solving it. So staff has some indication right now on some of the things that need to be cleaned up in the ordinance itself. We are also aware of some of the known problems in town. And so I think the idea is to be a little bit more strategic about our parking ordinances. And if the board has specific things like enforcement of cars that don't move, we want an opportunity to take a look at that and see if there's a way of solving that problem, or if it's just simply enforcement, then we'll deal with that. But if there's any known things that the board would like us to take a look at, we'd like to hear that tonight, or we could hear that via an email. But the same would be true for the general public, that if they have specific things that they have problems with, we'd like to hear about it so that we can try and address those problems as well.
so, okay, well, in my return, I'm very happy with staff looking at it, making some recommendations, coming back with something that might be feasible. Some division, you know, because to me, some subdivisions are fine, they don't need anything done. So, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes,
Yes,
Trustee Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make sure, there were a couple of ordinances out there that already existed, and along the lines of, you can't park out-of-commission vehicles on the road, correct? And we do, for those, I mean, people have emailed in their concerns and some of the general statements. If there's too many cars per home, don't we already have a building ordinance for multi-non-family in one home not being allowed, right? Something along those lines. And then I asked for a printout of all the different road sizes, and it seemed all the ones that were already short already had a one-side parking ban on it. So one that I'm not entirely sure of, is there or is there not an ordinance for cars parked on the road over 10 hours? Is that an existing ordinance?
No, you can park your car on the road for more than 10 hours. It depends where it's parked. If it's a hazard, then it can be removed after 10 hours.
So if it's in a hazard area, then that 10-hour
Right. If it's
applies.
causing obstruction to traffic, if it's not parked correctly, if we leave a notice so that they have some time to move it, but after that time, then we're allowed to go ahead and get it out of there.
Okay, so it kind of exists.
It does.
Okay, so then my general comment is that I believe the roads are paid for by the residents, and these taxpayer monies come with the ability to enjoy them. including parking. So I would be against any further restrictions, but I would encourage enforcement of those current ordinances because it seemed the general emails that came in, these existing ordinances would take care of their issues. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, Mr. Flynn, can you please call the roll?
Abernathy,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Rikus,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. That ends my report. Let's go to the trustee reports. First up, Public Works Committee, Trustee Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, we have a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the landscape maintenance contract between the Village of Mundelein and Rossboro Partners Incorporated, and to approve subsequent purchase orders for such services.
I'm sorry, could we make a slight adjustment to that ordinance so that it reads in the same manner as the resolution that's in the packet? What you read is what was put in the agenda, but the actual title of this ordinance turned out to be as follows: the resolution rejecting the bids for landscape maintenance and approving and authorizing the execution of the landscape maintenance service contract between the Village of Mundelein and Roseboro Partners, Inc.
What Mike said.
Sorry.
Okay, so that's a motion by Russell.
Second.
Second by Kim. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have just a quick question.
All right.
And Adam, you can probably answer this very quickly. I assume by looking through the packet that our bidders were fairly large entities, and none of them were Mundelein-based companies, and I'm assuming that's because it's a prevailing wage project.
Landscape maintenance is not necessarily prevailing wage. We do not specify prevailing wage in our contracts. The only things we specify is that they need to comply with prevailing a wage act to the extent that it is applicable per state law.
Okay, so in fact, there is some prevailing wage requirements probably from a filing standpoint. And here's why I'm asking. I want to be able to say to the business owners of this community two things. One, hey, if you want to do this, if you want to have a shot at this, here's the rules of the game. Number two, if you don't, then you can't complain when the village goes outside the village.
The only thing that we do with internally is receive the bids. You know, we post, we notify all vendors possible. We have a very extensive bidders list when it comes to this particular type of work. There are multiple Mundelein addressed vendors that we solicit for bids on
They
this
just
process.
don't choose not to.
But ultimately, it is not up to us to actually then bid the job, so.
I just want to make sure that, we can say, hey, you've got a shot at it like everybody else.
Yes,
Okay.
and the three bidders were substantial companies. They weren't
Oh, yeah.
sole proprietorships or partnerships or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? All right, Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Russell,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, that's all we have tonight, unless, Adam, you have anything more?
Just in regards to the Holly Street work, there is an extremely high level of activity on Holly Street, specifically east of Seymour, so pedestrians and vehicles alike should just take extra precaution when traveling in those areas.
That's all we have, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thank you. Next up, Finance Committee, Trustee Semple.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have two items on this evening's agenda. Before we pay the bills, we do have one item that has been pulled off, and it's the second of 4 or 5 we're going to be doing in the next couple of board meetings. This is some invoices and expenses for Trustee Kim for attending the Illinois Municipal League Conference. With that in mind, I'd like to make a motion to approve payment to Trustee Kim for expenses while attending the Illinois Municipal League Conference dated September 19th through September 20th of this year. And this is so Trustee Kim can abstain from voting on a payment to herself.
Second.
Motion by Semple, second by Abernathy. Discussion. Okay, Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Semple,
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Kim,
Abstain.
Russell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next and final item on the agenda is payment of the bills. With that, I'll make a motion to approve the payment of bills as indicated in the governing body report for the period between October 13, 2015, ending October 26, 2015, in the amount of $737,000, $57.91.
Motion by Semple.
Second.
Second by Abernathy. Discussion? All right, Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, we have the tax levy hearing coming up. I think that's the only other.
Next month.
What is the date set for that?
The 9th or 23rd.
The next village board meeting. So we will be bringing the tax levy. There's a special hearing for that that'll take place during the next board. With that in mind, I believe that's all we have for finance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Public Safety Committee, Trustee Regas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report, but I'd like to turn it over to Director Chief Gunther to see if he has anything that he'd like to discuss.
Thank you, sir. I have a couple things. This last weekend was Boo Bash. Both fire department and police department participated in that. Don't forget that trick or treat is this weekend. The hours are from 4 to 8. We will have extra patrols out in combination with some of our members of our CERT team will be out publicly, so you may see them with their vests on, just walking the neighborhoods, making sure that everyone's safe and not scaring anyone too much. Next week, we will be doing our second round of Safe and Smart Community Police Forum presentation. This is a copy of the flyer that we've got posted on our website and has been handed out to many businesses. We did this last January. It was very well attended at the senior center. This year, it's going to be at the high school in their auditorium. It's scheduled for November 5th from 7 to 8:30. We're going to talk about a number of topics, but primarily it's going to be revolving around the community and police relationships and partnerships. And Titan will be there also to introduce himself again. And so I look forward to anybody that can come out to that showing up. That's in combination with our Human Relations Commission. So thank you.
All right, anything from Deputy Chief Yoder?
I do have two things. I just want to say thanks to Bob Stallman. He drove old number 1 for the funeral procession for Ray Barnsmith. Ray was a former volunteer fireman, drove it all the way up to the Grays Lake, Lakeville area and made it back safely. And also, 2 of our members received the Cut Above Award, which is an award that's given out by Lake Forest Hospital. Lieutenant Tim Starkey and firefighter Kevin Miller. They went on a rescue call in combination with Libertyville Fire Department. They were able to revive a patient that was in cardiac arrest. So for that, they received a nice little gift and so forth this past week. So I just wanted to mention them. That's all.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief. That's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next up, Community and Economic Development Committee, Trustee Abernathy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I have no motions this evening. Chief Gunther stole part of my thunder today about Boo Bash. We did have Boo Bash this past weekend. I was there. It was a lot of fun, I have to say. The mayor, him and I came in there and we did have fun. And the kids are so darn cute. I think the best way to say it is the village had the nicest decorated table out of all the village-sponsored organizations. Fire was okay. They were close. Police really needs to step up their game. But other than that, Boo Bash, we had a lot of fun. Sorry, I'm taking a little bit of liberties because I turned 50 today. So today is my birthday, and I'm spending it here with all of you. The other thing that we had is Mundelein Idol, which was a lot of fun. If anyone has not seen that, you really should go to Mundelein Idol. It is a fundraiser for the Sound and Lights choirs show choirs at Mundelein High School, and that's just a fabulous event. I believe November 1st, daylight savings time begins. Am I correct? Yes. Spring, fall back. Oh, I love that one. We get an extra hour of sleep. Oh, and you do your smoke detectors when we do that, don't we, Chief?
Yes. I'm sorry.
When we do the fall back daylight savings, don't we check our smoke detectors?
Change your batteries.
Yes, we do.
Perfect.
Our sign says that if you hear the beep when you sleep.
There we go. The other thing I wanted to say, November 5th, I know we have another board meeting, but November 5th, there's going to be another land use committee for Route 53, and it's going to be at the University Center. The public is welcome to go to this. I know a lot of people have questions about Route 53, so if you do, I believe it's at 11:30 or 2:30 to 4:30. Sorry, 2:30 to 4:30 at the University Center. Please show up if you have questions about Route 53. You can hear the discussion, because some people, this way then you see everything is open and honest. Last but certainly the best, we have a new business in town. It is Juan's Auto Repair, and it's a complete auto repair shop, general repair work from changing oil to changing an engine. And that's all, folks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Transportation Infrastructure Committee. Trustee Norton is not present. Trustee Rikus.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
I would skip, Mr. Mayor.
Hold on.
Oh, excuse me, wait a minute. I'm sorry. She's backing it up. Communication and Marketing Committee, Trustee Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Speaking of stealing thunder, there went half my report, Trustee Abernathy. So what I have left is, marketing is prepping for a commercial brokers meeting on November 4th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. The location is omitted from this entry here, so Mr. Levato. It's
right here.
at the Village Hall? Okay.
Yes. Here, yep.
All right, thank you. And the Good Morning Mundelein video was one of Mundelein High School's favorite Facebook posts. It totally blew up. So if you're interested in more posts like that and information such as our awesome leaf pickup, be sure to like the Village of Mundelein Facebook page if you haven't already. And that's all I have left in here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Any other reports from any trustees, comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I'm sorry to bring this up, but especially since we're talking about it next week, I do want to just talk to you and let you know that I have talked to many people, and social media has gone on about, we're going to talk about increasing taxes for roads, and we were talking about doing it for roads, correct? I know pensions,
Well,
but,
no, we had our strategic planning session where
Right.
we discussed that.
okay, so that's not going to happen.
And then next, well, we discussed it
Uh-huh.
and threw out a lot of ideas, and staff has to digest those comments.
Yeah, we're not bringing anything to the board on November 9th to make a decision about.
Okay, so what are we doing with the tax levy?
Well, that's a completely separate issue, aside from the
It is.
roads discussion, so.
Yeah, I don't think there was consensus by the board to do anything with the board had all kinds of ideas.
On the roads.
On the roads.
On the roads.
Yeah, I think the board was unified, well, not unified, but there was consensus on the board to address the pension increase through the tax levy.
Okay, I just would like to see if, again, before we go to that, I'm just going to say if there's anything we can do other than raising taxes, if we could please look at that. Because that's all. I'm just going to say that if there's, I'm not going to, drown this out, but I just want to say, if there's anything we can do other than raising taxes, let's try to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. That takes us to the other scheduled business. We have 6 items on the omnibus vote list, items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does any trustee wish to pull any of those items before we vote on the omnibus list? No? Okay, then I need a motion, please, to pass all 6 items in the omnibus list.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Kim. Discussion? Okay. Mr. Flynn, please call the roll.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries. That takes us to the village staff reports. Village Administrator, Mr. Levato.
I just had one item tonight, and it's along the lines of marketing. We received a request from the City and County Managers Association, ICMA, to be part of the upcoming conference in February to talk about the branding that the community has gone through. So us and North Aurora are going to be the two speakers in that session, and so there'll be thousands of people in attendance at that. And so it's a opportunity for Mundelein to put its name out there and to talk about something that I think is forward-thinking and somewhat innovative for municipalities. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. And that's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Village Attorney, Mr. Marino.
I have no report, and I understand there's no need for an executive session.
That's correct. Yeah, no executive session this evening. Village Clerk Timmerman is not here. Mr. Flynn, do you have any report in her stead?
No report.
Okay, thank you. No other business on the list here, so at this point, thank you everyone for attending. I need a motion at this point to adjourn the village
So
board
moved.
meeting. So, motion by Abernathy?
Second.
Second by Kim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you very much, everyone.